So let's look at the cultural calculator and talk just a little bit about how one uses it to both understand some of the deep historical developments that we've looked at and their impact, but also how you use it today to apply it to challenges that you may be facing in China. Very quickly, when you look across it, you see some significant differences, certainly in hierarchy, as we've talked about. You see very, very large differences here between the U.S. And China in both group and relationships, meaning China is much more interpersonal, as we've seen looking at Guanxi, but it is also a much less individualist society. The group is very important, leading to the development of face, as we've seen it. Looking at communication patterns, the impact of face and other things means that there is a definite gap between the more direct American approach and a more indirect Chinese approach. When we look at time, China is a much more fluid time culture than the U.S. There is a gap there, which means that people may take things as they come up and prioritize in a different way than we would in the United States. Control, which impacts risk assessment, a gap there also. Essentially, the U.S. is a very strong internal control culture, which means we think we can control a lot of risk, so we're open to risk. China is lower, as you see. It's more externally oriented. It is more risk averse. So how you get people to buy in, how you get people to accept change is probably going to be different than it would be in the U.S. Protocol, etiquette. One of the things that we've seen already was important historically in China for interaction is reflected here in the fact that there is a gap between the more informal U.S. and a more formal China, impacting a lot of the challenges that you've indicated you have in protocol and etiquette, which is reflected in the poll. But interestingly, when you look at status, what you see is that the U.S. and China are similar. They are both very high achievement and status-oriented cultures. So as you work with Chinese colleagues, deep recognition that they need recognition, that people will change jobs if they don't achieve what they want. People are very interested in status and achievement within their society, similar in a way to the U.S. So interesting that that is the only area where you don't see a fairly significant gap